ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's exciting event. We'd like to let you know as well, if you want a clearer view, a more panoramic view of today's event, you may do so from our upstairs seating. We also have upstairs seating on the second floor of this venue. So if you'd like that view for yourselves, kindly make your way up the stairs and take the seats. There are still a lot that is unoccupied, so please make your way on the second floor of this venue if you'd like a different set of view for today's event. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, if you just came in, to enjoy our refreshments that is being served. And we'll begin in just a short moment to go. ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon once again. Now our guest of honor, Yang Berhormat, Dato Sri Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy, will be arriving shortly. Now please we may invite everyone to do take your seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please do take your seats. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. My name is Shafiqah Farahin and I'll be your MC for this momentous event. And on behalf of Yayasan Peneraju, it is my immense pleasure to welcome Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Rafizi bin Ramli, Minister of Economy, Mr. Ibrahim Sani, Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Peneraju, Mr. Junadi Nawawi, Chief Executive Officer, Teraju, Mr. Nur Hisham Hussain, Yayasan Peneraju Advisory Council Member, representatives from learning and training institutions, leadership team of Yayasan Peneraju, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Dato, Datin, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Now, as we all know, Yayasan Peneraju is the agency under the Ministry of Economy that has consistently been at the forefront of creating impactful initiatives that shows its unwavering commitment to shaping a skilled, resilient Bumiputra workforce. Now, it has consistently as well been creating impactful initiatives that help build and strengthen the Bumiputra community. And recently, Yayasan Peneraju has celebrated its 13th anniversary. This is a key role in contributing to the advancement of Malaysia's future. And we're here today to hear more and learn more about the exciting and new financing scheme. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Ibrahim Sani, the Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Peneraju, to deliver his welcome remarks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for coming. There's a lot that needs to be unpacked. But of course, the key factor here is that Yayasan Peneraju is now 13 years old. So we're a teenager. As teenagers, we got to change. There's a lot of changes coming over. And of course, this event, we're very proud to have the Minister of Economy, Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Rafizi, joining us. Our partner in crime, Mr. Junaidi, the CEO of Teraju, as well as our distinguished partners right now in the house. Many of us are joining online as well. Kalau kita tengok around, there's about 200, 300 people here. There's about 2,000 people joining us online so far. So this is a much-awaited announcement that we want to make today. Very quickly, let's do a quick check onto who we are. Now, since operating in 2012, some of the changes that we've done over the past few years are immense, but we are still very clear on our focus and our vision. We want to accelerate the global competitiveness of Bumiputra talents. And in order for us to achieve this vision, sometimes we have to create the most efficient funneling mechanism for Bumiputra talents to become value creators. I'll explain a little bit more about what we mean by value creators. In this regard, our goal is to make sure that we build the best talent bank as the funnel mechanism towards having value creators for the market to take. And when we say market, we're not just talking about the existing market today, we're also talking about the future markets that might exist, and therefore we have to future plan and future-proof ourselves, and in order to do that, we have to change the way we do things. We have three key functions to identify talent acquisition, to create talent development enhancement, to ensure financial resource mobilization, and this year, we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to integrate the industry and network better, because we now have over 75,000 talents after 13 years of operations. We are going to hyperscale our enrollments starting this year onwards, and in order to do that, we have to also change the way we do things. So now, the big why. Generally speaking, we have created talents in the space of technology, in the space of professional, in the space of medical specialization, as well as in the space of skill and TVET, and the most pronounced thrust that we had, which is Peneraju Tunas, the high school program and the university programs that we've done. In order to be a little bit more focused, we have sunsetted 3 of those 5, and we want to focus a little bit more into the 2 key thrusts that is going to be deeply engaged right now for this starting this year moving forward. They are professional and technology. And the reason why we want to do this, there's 3 reasons. The first is because we want to bolster talent growth and competitiveness of the sectors that we operate in for the preparation of the global stage. That's very, very critical, because when we see job unfulfilled in the market right now, especially when we talk about mega projects and mega events such as the Singapore, Johor Special Economic Zone, such as some of the sectors that we want to bring in, including a big announcement that the Ministry of Economy is going to be making next week. We want to have talents that can fulfill these unfulfilled roles. And most of the talent that cannot be fulfilled is in the space of technology and in the space of professional. And that's why we want to focus on these 2 thrusts moving forward. The next big why that we want to resolve is on broadening the horizon of the Bumiputera talent development initiatives. We believe that talent development is not just competency and technical training that we give and accord to these talents. That's just the first step. We believe that mentoring, prototyping, talent development, networking, as well as coaching are all part and parcel of that talent development process. So we have to change the way we do things, or else we won't be able to achieve our vision, which is again to accelerate the global competitiveness of the Bumiputera talents. The third big why that we want to do this is because we want to make sure, and this is the big one, that talents themselves self-curate their development process. And this is the big change. Because previously, what we've been doing is, we were the parent. For the first 12 years of our existence, we have been telling talents that if you want to learn, you learn it this way. And we have decided for you that you shall learn it this way at this institution for this duration. And if you don't do it, it's okay. We'll still be funded by us. That's okay. For the first 13 years of our existence, that's okay. But now, seeing that we're a teenager, seeing that we need to upskill and hyperscale our growth, and seeing that our talents are now demanding for better control of their talent development process, we are now empowering them, and we are now liberating them, and we are now ensuring that they self-curate their talent development process. In this regard, we are, before I announce the big announcement, we are looking at some trends for the moment. It took us 12 years to reach about 3,000 professional accountants. It took us 12 years to train 3,000 Bumiputera professional accountants. This year alone, we're going to train 2,000. So we are 3xing the amount of enrollment that we take for some of the segments of the talent development process. For instance, last year we took in about 500 post-SPM to be trained in foundation in accounting for ACCA or AFIA, and we took in about 50 to 60 ICAEW preparatory course, CFAB. This year we're going to take 1,500 for both combined. So that's 3xing. For the post-SPM pathway, last year we took in about 200, 300. This year we're taking about 500. So that's double Xing. So overall, for the professional space, we are enrolling over 200 talents this year alone. This is by far the largest enrollment of the Bumiputera talents in the Peneraju Professional Training Program. For technology, last year we trained about 1,000 to 1,500 talents in the space of Peneraju technology. This year we're enrolling 5,000 enrollments, and we are okay to increasing this number if there is a demand for this as the year go by. So we're looking at 7,200 enrollments just this year alone. This is going to be hyperscaled to hit nearly 30,000 in the next 5 years when we go through RMK 13. What it looks like is this. The growth is going to increase like tremendously. And this is why we believe the time is right for us to train more talents and give power into their hands, because this is the number that we're looking at. Having said that, this is still not enough. So we're doing our best to hyperscale our enrollments and our completion per year, but we're still not enough. So the market still requires a lot more talents to be fulfilled in the technology space, in the professional space, but we're doing what we can. Next, we're looking at these brackets, time brackets of the past 8 years. Enrollment is about 4,800, completion is about 1,600, and then for the past 4 or 5 years, we're looking at enrollment about 6,000, completion about 2,000, but for the next 5 years, we are planning to enroll about 14,000 for professional, and we're looking to complete their studies about 5,000. So as you can see, we are going to complete more professional programs for the next 5 years than we've ever done before. So, we're going to take a picture of that. Boleh je. Okay? All right. Okay, now let's talk about value contributors or value adders. Since the inception, we've had over 75,000 value contributors to the economy. And this is good, this is great. Without us, we don't have value contributors to the economy. That's not good enough moving forward, because we need to create a lot more than value contributors amongst the talents that we have today. In this space, Tunas has created over 15,000, Skill has over 30,000, Specialists we have over 100, and we're going to grow more. But moving forward, we're going to look at professional and technology even further, because completed is 4,000 for professional and technology is about 6,000. As you can see, even for technology, the completion, we are nearly reaching it just by enrolling this year. So this is set to change, because we are going to move from value contributors to become value creators. And I will take a little bit more time in this space to talk about this. When we talk about value creators, we want people to be economic multipliers. We want people to add their skill set to create value. Now, becoming value contributors or adding value to an organization is one way of doing things, and that's fine. But if you can create new business models, you can create impact to your community, or you can lead the large organizations that you currently work in, that's the je ne sais quoi that we're looking at amongst our talent inside Yayasan Penaju. So while we want to do this, there has to be some clear steps into how we want to achieve more value creators. We start off today by introducing Yayasan Penaju's new financing scheme. And then we're going to announce right now that this is the largest yearly new enrollment post-SPM professional technology trainings that we offer. One thing different is that not only are we providing certifications, we are also providing trainings that may not necessarily have certifications. We just want to make sure that the trainings that are being offered by our partners, many of them are here today, pass through our internal verification that their trainings are, number one, suiting the market demands, and number two, able to fulfill the market needs, and number three, able to fulfill the needs and wants of the talent themselves. So today, we're going to launch 22 new certifications, but in April, we're going to launch over 200 certifications. Throughout the year, we're going to launch a lot more trainings that might not necessarily be accompanied with certifications. That will happen later. We'll have another session at Glasshouse when we do it. But for now, that's what we're thinking of, and that's directionally where we're thinking. Certification is one thing, trainings is another. Barulah jadi value creators. Next, we look at this empowering self-talents to manage the financing scheme. For the past 12 years of operations, we've been giving the funding of the education directly to the LTIs, or the learning and training institutions. This year, we are giving the funds directly to the scholars themselves. And the scholars will then use those funds to pay for their tuition fees, professional fees, exam fees, miscellaneous fees, and they will be directly engaging with the LTIs themselves. They will not be engaging with us with regard to the LTI. Our job at Yayasan Penaju is to green light those learning and training institutions, and when they are approved, we will give them a certification badge, which I will show later. But for now, the empowering of those talents actually to self-manage those funds will be directly to us. We give the funds directly to the talents then use those funds to pay for their education needs. baru we are on the track of becoming value creators. Finally, we look at the self-curated journey of those talents, because we're going to incorporate elements of social assistance based on those talents' financial needs. If the talent is able to score perfect, for instance, that will be converted to scholarship. If the talent requires 1 or 2 certifications, that will be converted to scholarship. But if the talent has a program curated for themselves, by themselves, and it is matching with the approved learning and training institutions that Yayasan Penaju provides, then the talent can take something in between. From the maximum scheme that we offer, compared to the minimum scheme that we offer, it will be a convertible loan that they have to pay back a certain amount. So those are the thinking that we have right now. We want to make sure that the talents have all they need to fulfill their studies, and they will be managing it themselves, but it won't be a free ride. They will have to have a skin in the game in order for them to have that financial funding for their education. Finally, we look at this last element of continuous support for learning and sustainable talent development. As we mentioned earlier, they will be inducted into the Yayasan Peneraju ecosystem. We start off with them being talents being trained by the learning and training institutions, but their role will continue even after they complete their certifications and trainings, because we want them to give back to their community through Yayasan Peneraju's talent development program called the Talent Bank. We launched Talent Bank last year. There has been a huge take-up, and there has been a huge reaction, positive mostly, to understand a little bit better about how they can contribute back to their community through our Talent Bank. So we want to deepen that even further following this new financing scheme. So why the new financing scheme? Well, we have 3 flexible options of the financing scheme packages, which I will go through line by line. The maximum financing will be up to 150,000, and then of course, it's 0 interest. This will be forming part of the continuous talent development opportunities to support, and this is new, even our alumni can also apply for this financing scheme, assuming that they have fulfilled their previous studies and assuming that they have paid more than 50% of their outstanding with us. They too can enjoy this financing scheme along with new customers that we intend to take this year. So, fresh enrollments as well as repeat enrollments is available for this particular announcement. This is the details. 3 packages: silver, gold, and platinum. Silver is up to 15,000 ringgit. What it covers is the tuition and training fees. It will cover the professional fees. There will be no monthly allowance. There will be no need to repay, which means that this is a scholarship. There will be a one-time offer per individual to apply for the silver package. And there will be no convertible, no need, because it's already a scholarship. Normally, we want to target people who want to deep dive into the space of technology certifications. This would be the best package for you to take up. Next is the gold package. It goes up to 30,000 ringgit. You get everything, but you have to pay back 50% of the loan that you take from us. When you pay back that 50% loan that you take from us, assuming that you paid everything, you can reapply for this scheme again for your further training and certification talent development process. So gold up to 30,000, silver up to 15,000. And gold is a loan, silver is a scholarship. Platinum is a mix of both. Platinum goes up to 150,000. You get tuition fees, exam fees, you get a monthly allowance, you get to apply this multiple times if you want. For some reason you want to do ACCA over and over again, up to you, just pay back. But you have to repay back 20%. And then if you straight pass every paper that you take, this will be converted into a scholarship. That one doesn't differ from the previous way we do things. Normally, we would suspect or expect those that are post-SPM to take this particular program, either AFIA or CFAB or CFA for working adults or PMP, again for working adults. All this will be detailed in the our website that you can apply at peneraju.org. I'll tell that later. But generally speaking, this is the details that you need to think about. And then, of course, if you take more from us, you have to pay more back to us. So our recommendation is for you to take enough for you to pay for your training fees and professional and exam fees. Because we want to make sure that you don't owe people more than you need to. That's the thinking. So many of these students are also asking for more coverage in terms of the amount that they get. This is the most that we can do, and this is the amount that we are offering even more than before that we've done. So 3 types of packages: gold, silver, and platinum. And then we're looking at these numbers: 1,500 for school leavers, 500 for people that have a bachelor degree in probably accounting, finance, commerce, economics. They want to complete their professional certification. That's the number that we're targeting. 200 for mostly CFA and PMP and other professional certifications. And 5,000 for technology programs. And they can come from everywhere, either undergrads, graduates, unemployed, or working adults. So how do you check if you're available to apply and when and stuff like that? We start off with today. Today, peneraju.org is open for business. You can apply up to 21 technology certifications from our 5 approved learning and training institutions. This is for starters. And then we'll look at our application, we'll look at our internal system to check if everything's okay, if the enrollment's doing fine, if we can disburse the money okay, if the talents are receiving the money's okay, if they're paying their learning and training institutions okay, everything's okay. If not, we'll pivot. If not, we'll iterate. But in the meantime, this is what we're committing to. Open for business right now. And then when the SPM is announced, the SPM result of last year is announced, on the 27th of April, that 22 certifications will go to 192 certifications from the 17 professional certifications that we are going to offer. And this post-SPM, school leavers can apply on the 27th of April, along with all the other technology programs that we're offering on top of that 22. This is a key factor. If you scroll peneraju.org and you might not see the trainings provided right now, hold your horses. On 27th, it will be made available. And then sometime in mid-year, we are going to start enrolling people. We might be able to increase up to 10,000 talents, and we will add more certifications from more approved learning and training institutions, because we are gearing towards our preparation for the next 5 years under the 13th Malaysia Plan. Later in the year, we will announce an extension of our product offerings, and we will add even more LTIs, and we will not make the announcement today, but this is the timeline that we're committing to. Okay. Some of the third training and certifications offered under Peneraju Technology are the usual suspects, and the pathway can be from post-SPM or IGCSE, post-foundation, matriculation, tertiary studies, or experienced working adults. This is for the professional pathway. For the technology pathway, these are the certifications that we're offering for the time being, and it covers from all the levels of skill that individual want to go after. Right? So for talents, for the individual that wants to go for the certifications, start browsing their website and then check for the logo that we have given these learning and training institutions. If the learning and training institution do not have this logo, then they will not be a part of our approved LTI. This is how the logo looks like. This is what we want to implore for the LTIs to make us your partners. You get this logo, our talents will come to your place. Now, it is in the interest of your institutions to make this much more appealing to those talents. Because the talents want to learn that particular certification and training, but they can't go to your place because you have not been green-lighted by us. The moment you get green-light by us, you get this logo, done, kau team. No problem. Okay, who can apply? Malaysian Bumi Putra, age 16 and above, because we believe that education and training is a continuous process. I have had queries from a pensioner who wants to tambah education. I said, can, as long as you can pay our financing scheme, not a problem. I don't know why the individual wants to do it, but, who are we to say no to when an individual wants to add on to their skill? You have to have a valid offer letter or proof of registration from our LTIs. If the LTI doesn't give that LO to you, you can't apply to us. But it's very easy to get an LO from an LTI, especially if they've been green light by us. Just go register. If you've passed their registration process, you would be getting an LO from them. And then, this is key. You're not an active recipient of other Yayasan Peneraju funding. If you've been receiving our funding process and have completed the program and is now an alumni and you don't owe more than 50% of cash to us, you do not fall in this number 3 element. So if you are actively studying something and you have gotten the funding for that, complete that. Once you've completed that, start to rethink whether or not you're a serial learner or you really need to actually have that certification to proceed in your talent development process. Obviously, so that bracket is actually quite important, subject to recovery requirement if applicable. Talk to our recovery team. Okay, how do you apply? You visit peneraju.org. You select your preferred course. You fill out the application form. And you receive an approval. Straightforward. Talent experience. This one is too small. So we'll give you the thing. I'll just read out the journey. You first discover what you need. Most probably, knowing our talents, we have 75,000 of them. We kind of know what they need and they know what they need. So done, discover. Then you apply both to the LTIs as well as to us. And then we get you to be onboarded and you will be profiled and we will create a profile of you in our Yayasan Peneraju Talent Bank and we will monitor your performance as you study. And then after you complete your education process, we'll continue with the monitoring, especially creating more profiles, better profiles, more granularity in terms of who you are. And then we'll be part of that talent development journey. And you have to give back, including mentoring to your juniors and to your peers. And then when we do all that, that happens to be developing your talents even better. And then we manage your process of talent development. Once we have done all that, then you exit. As you can see, that training part is just one parcel of that whole talent development process. So yeah, apply now. Peneraju.org is open for business. Thank you.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the brand new and exciting financing scheme by Yayasan Peneraju. Congratulations, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Now, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, with great honor, it is our privilege to invite Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy, to the stage to deliver his keynote address. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause as we welcome Yang Berhormat.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat petang, Saudara Ibrahim Sani, Saudara Junadi, Saudari Zato, Saudara Kama, Senior Leadership of Yayasan Peneraju, Saudara Nur Hisham from the Board of Advisors, rakan-rakan LTI, saya ingat wakil-wakil daripada kementerian pun ada, dan juga mungkin alumni, media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not too sure, I was a bit confused sampai tadi awal-awal. Ini engagement party Ibrahim Sani ke apa ni? And I'm acutely aware I have to compete with the blower here. And then juga with all the drinks, snack and so on. And first and foremost, at the back of my mind, making headlines last week, ialah ada 3 orang Mat Saleh tapi dia cakap bahasa Inggeris. So let me try, kita campur bahasa Melayu dan bahasa Inggeris supaya dia tak jadi isu headline yang baru. Yayasan Peneraju adalah satu agensi di bawah Kementerian Ekonomi. Kalau dilihat kepada apa yang Saudara Ibrahim Sani kongsikan tadi, satu potensi besar yang ada ialah macam mana kita nak skalakan akses dan coverage. Selepas 13 tahun, good job, tetapi kita hanya melahirkan lebih kurang 2,000 accountant professional. 13 tahun, 2,000. Credits to everyone who had been in the ecosystem, but we have to ask ourselves, how can 2,000 make any difference to the whole country? Maksudnya akses tu untuk ada kesan kepada kedudukan ekonomi Bumi Putera tu satu, tetapi keperluan keseluruhan negara, surely we cannot survive with 2,000 professionals, accountants and CFAs in a span of 13 years. Likewise, 13 tahun, technologists, kalau ikut rekod kita berapa? 4,000. 13 tahun. Is go on LinkedIn, saya follow on LinkedIn, semua orang kata, I'm extremely excited, every day. Tapi at the junction of our economy and growth, we will not be able to meet the demands. Especially dalam sektor-sektor yang kita ketinggalan jauh. Sebab itu kita ada disparity dalam masyarakat kita. Jumlah yang keluar dengan pendidikan tinggi, banyaklah. Tapi jumlah yang diperlukan oleh ekonomi kita dalam bidang-bidang baru itu jurang dia besar. Akhirnya kita ada mismatch yang besar. So that is one existential question that we have to address. How do you scale up the access? And what kind of ecosystem that will allow us to balance these competing requirements? First, you want to double, triple, quadruple the access so that more people can benefit, satu. Kedua, for you to be able to keep up with the demand of the work force out there and the economy. Dan ketiga, how do you design the whole thing supaya it's very agile? Keduanya, supaya we make it an initiative on the part of the talents. We need to create a workforce that takes charge of their own development. Sebab peringkat negara kita sekarang untuk kita berdaya saing, kita memerlukan bakat yang secara berterusan menambah kemahiran. The old model where you think you go to a university and get a degree, or by that extension under Peneraju, where you go and get a certification and you think you are sorted, is no longer applicable. People have to constantly learn new things. Jadi sebab itu, berdasarkan kepada tiga-tiga perkara inilah, lembaga pemegang amanah Yayasan Peneraju yang saya pengurusinya, dibantu dengan lembaga penasihat, dengan kepimpinan kanan Yayasan Peneraju, for the last 12-13 months we had spent a lot of arguments sebenarnya about how to pivot kepada satu ekosistem yang boleh memenuhi dan menyelesaikan ketiga-tiga problem statements tadi. Baik. Jadi sudah tentu parameter yang pertama ialah kita perlu meningkatkan skalanya. Kalau tadi, finally for 2025, Yayasan Peneraju finally commits to doubling intake, more than double lah kan. Kalau 2024 is 700, for 2025 untuk professional accountants, both streams, lepasan sekolah dan juga for professional yang nak dapatkan chartered accountancy, daripada 700 tahun lepas 2024, tahun ini 2,000 orang. So that's double. And then saya tengok Ibrahim Sani punya projection daripada 2000, tahun 2025, 2026, 2500, 2027, 2700, that will be revised. Because if you are able to scale up within and you put in all the system and processes and you are able to go from 700 to 2000, surely you can do much better than 2000 to 2005, 2007. So if we look at the last 13 years, if you are able to produce 2,000 in 13 years, I'm hoping that we can work together supaya at least lah, I think, in the next 5-6 years, we are able to enroll at least 15,000 bare minimum and produce bare minimum 10,000. So that's untuk professional accountants and CFAs and so on. Kemudian kita tengok kepada technologies. In the last 13 years, 4,000. Kalau tengok tadi tu 80,000, okay. We'll see how it goes this year dulu. And then untuk 26 to 2030, then we'll adjust accordingly. Because to me, if you are able to cover 10,000, 15,000 per year, surely we can do better than 80,000. Sebab itu, we have to also widen the scope. Kalau sebelum ini is all mostly based on certification. And there is a reason why it is based on certification. Because qualifying a course, a training is very difficult. Jadi mudahnya ialah okey lah. Kalau kursus ini ada certification, then you offer it. But time change. Especially digital and tech companies, semiconductors company, don't necessarily look for certification. They look for your ability to do the work and to continuously upskill. And we also need to manage one big society issue, which is underemployment. Kita ada banyak STEM graduates dalam beberapa bidang kejuruteraan tertentu, but they don't fit into the new economy, into digital and tech. Semua nak berebut masuk Petronas, masuk GLC, and there's a limited space for STEM graduates into that. What they can do, and they are more than capable of doing it, is that for them to pivot into tech skill. Either they become data scientists, they become software developer, they become network engineer, and this year, hopefully, we start rolling out. They can start their career by pivoting into front-end semiconductor design, for example. So, and over and above for that, Yayasan Peneraju has been tasked to make sure that not only we provide training and certification, we must bring them at least for the 6 months of work experience. Because kalau dia ada certification pun, kalau dia dah go through training, but without proof of employment and have that you are in the industry doing the kind of work that fresh graduate is expected to do, you cannot get a job. So if we are able to do this, then that means that we will be able to cover more than 10, 15,000 per year. Because the demand is huge out there. Baik. Easier said than done. If we want to do this, to scale up, to make sure that we are agile enough to keep up with the demand of the economy, what is the biggest problem dengan sistem yang ada sebelum ini? Money. There's no amount of government funding that will be able to allow us to scale up, given that Yayasan Peneraju cannot go and ask for blank check from us. And I will certainly have to be fair to everyone else juga. Sebab itu, we have to restructure the whole financing scheme. Kita juga kenal pasti sebenarnya, there's this issue about accountability and motivation if you give blank check to recipients. Sebab itu dropout rate is high. Sebab itu there is no sense of belonging and the accountability that you have to give back to the community, because, as far as people are concerned, this is just another privilege of being a Bumiputra. Saya dapat, saya pergi, saya tak lepas, tak apalah, saya nak buat benda lain. Kadang-kadang kita pun tak kejar. Akhirnya, duit banyak mana pun, kita tak akan dapat scale up seperti yang kita nak. Sebab itu, we have to change the whole system, especially with respect to how we deal with our LTI previously. We have to take back the whole process so that we can screen, we can identify the right fit, we can look everything in totality, and most importantly, we can make them accountable for the funding given to them. Because on the part of the LTI, for this to happen, untuk membolehkan kita meningkatkan capaian ni sampai 100,000 orang dalam 5 tahun, we need the LTIs to be a lot more competitive, to scale up as well, because you need to be able to take up these students. So, more places, so leave the process of screening, of managing, of developing this to Yayasan Peneraju internally. LTI can focus on the right fit of programs and scale up your availability, and I think it's going to be win-win for both, because you have a much larger pie, and we are able to scale up with the same amount, or less, in fact, going forward, with the same amount or less money from government. And to make sure all this can happen juga, kita kena pastikan bahawa Yayasan Peneraju betul-betul tumpu kepada core focus area. Sebab itu saya beritahu Yayasan Peneraju, quit doing school. Memang dah banyak agensi lain buat sekolah. Yang bantu budak sekolah, yang bantu dekat universiti untuk kursus yang lain. JPA ada, MARA ada, segala jenis scholarship lain ada. Leave that to them. Because those are not necessarily scholarship. Those are basically human resource investments by the scholarship provider. And more often than not, they see that as their human resource planning, which Peneraju cannot do because you are not a corporate entity. You cannot absorb these people. So quit doing school. Sama juga dengan lepasan sekolah. So focus on lepasan sekolah. Lepasan sekolah juga, quit doing things that other people have already provided. And from the track record, Yayasan Peneraju did well when it comes to professional finance, certifications and qualification. Focus on that, scale it up. Sama juga dengan professional, ada isu pasal sebelum ini, medical specialists and so on. It was my decision that I said, quit doing that. Kerana program yang ada dalam kerajaan sedia ada pun is already catering for that. You just need to focus on 2 or 3 very core program designs, release the financial and other resources to focus on these 2, sebab jumlah yang penerima, contohnya untuk medical specialist dan kursus-kursus yang niche yang lain is actually quite low. Sama juga, quit doing TVET. Yang bawah-bawah ni, yang welding semua ni, quit doing that. Jadi kalau ada LTI yang sebelum ini, bekerjasama dengan Peneraju untuk buat very low entry level technical, sudah ada banyak agensi kerajaan yang lain yang diberi tugasan untuk menguruskan perkara itu. Because Peneraju has to focus on the upper end of the skill. And that upper end is basically digital and tech yang selari dengan kehendak dan permintaan workforce yang kita ada. Because these are where shortages is happening now. Jadi saya berharap dengan perkara-perkara ini, dan akhir sekali, sebab itu kita kena kembalikan pilihan itu kepada ibu bapa dan juga pelajar-pelajar. They must take the accountability and ownership daripada awal. supaya dia tahu the choice of, contohnya, semalam saya ceramah, sesuatu nak hilang ni. The choice between, contohnya, dapat scholarship per se daripada satu sponsorship, it could be to the US, to the UK, nilai keseluruhannya RM700,000, tapi if you are not employed, you kena bayar RM700,000 just to do accounting. Ataupun you take the scholarship RM700,000 just to do accounting overseas, kena balik kerja dengan entity A, entity B. Lepas itu 3 tahun you decide, saya nak buat benda lain ataupun I'm not happy here. For you to leave your bond 10 tahun, you break the bond, you bayar RM500,000. Pelajar-pelajar dan ibu bapa sekarang ini sudah mula perlu membuat perkiraan yang melihat masa depan, so that you can balance. If you can do ACCA, ICAW over here with world-class quality, and then I'm an employer before, I don't discriminate bila saya ambil qualified accountants. Whether you train overseas ke, you buat dekat sini ke, ACCA or ICAW is ACCA or ICAW. You pass lah. But kalau saya jadi ibu bapa, saya tengok, and I think it's a better value for me to take this stream because the financial commitment is a lot lower. Sebab itu juga kita bagi pilihan, ada silver, ada gold, ada platinum. Gold dengan platinum itu supaya ibu bapa pun dan juga profesional yang nak mendapat manfaat daripada Yayasan Peneraju, for you to make the calculation. Kalau duduk di Subang Jaya, jalan kaki nak pergi ke college, why must you take 150,000 full scholarship just so that you dapat allowance untuk monthly allowance dan juga accommodation? You duduk rumah lah. It's much better off to just take 30,000 because the commitment is a bit low, much lower. Jadi flexibility itu and accountability must be returned kepada ibu bapa dan juga pelajar, supaya then it creates that sense of belonging and sense of accountability, because Yayasan Peneraju will go and collect every single cent due. Not so much because kita kedekut, but we need that so that we can scale up for future students. If we can get this better and we can lower the dropout rate and we can make sure recovery is much better, that's how we intend to scale up much higher daripada the last 13 years with the same or less amount of money. And I personally believe, kalau kita tumpu 5 tahun akan datang, untuk mendidik generasi baru Bumiputra ini yang akan menjadi pimpinan profesional, leadership di dalam industri kita, then we can make sure that they will come back and give back to the community, because they have been trained from the very beginning that there is no free lunch in the world. Jadi saya mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir. Good luck to all of you. I don't usually appear that much when it comes to Peneraju atau Teraju for that matter, but I chair both Board of Trustees, and we spent the last 2 years to realign Bumiputra mandate to make it a lot more competitive, to make sure that it's scalable, and to make sure that it benefits a lot more people daripada yang kita ada in the last 13 to 14 years. And for that, everyone has to adjust. Yayasan Peneraju has to adjust. The partners, LTIs, have to adjust. Ibu bapa dan penerima also have to adjust. And I'm hoping that if we can do this in the next 5 years, 2026 to 2030, at least lah kita boleh jawab the existential question tadi. There is a reason why Yayasan Peneraju exists. Because in a space of 5 years, it managed to produce and create and curate 100,000 Bumiputra talents that become the core of powering our next journey in Malaysia's economic growth. If we are able to do that by 2030, then I think we all have done our work. Maybe kita jumpa balik in 2030 for me to thank you personally. Dan kepada alumni, jangan marah kalau dapat email ataupun surat suruh bayar. That's not from Yayasan Peneraju. That's my instruction. Saya tak suruh bayar sekaligus. You bincanglah tapi mulalah bayar. Because that money has to go back to fund this, to scale this up. And I can tell you dia ada pahala dia. If you've already getting the assistance, you dah kerja, you dapat 4-5 ribu sebulan, walaupun you rasa you masih muda, when you pay back, that money is circulated to benefit the next batch of people. That's how society grows. Jadi saya tahu, mungkinlah ada orang dekat Yayasan Peneraju kena maki ke, parents marah ke, dulu kata tak ada, sekarang kena bayar semua. Well, follow the process. They will be flexible. All we want to make sure is that we create this virtuous cycle ke atas supaya lebih ramai orang yang akan dapat bantuan dan juga manfaat daripada Yayasan Peneraju. Jadi once again, thank you very much. Saya ingat yang paling penting ialah supaya ibu bapa yang anak-anak mereka sekarang ini sedang menunggu keputusan SPM, sedia maklum bahawa peluang yang ditawarkan oleh Yayasan Peneraju akan naik 3 kali ganda. Kalau tahun 2024 hanya ada 500 pembiayaan yang disediakan, sebulan lagi ni dia akan naik menjadi 1,500. Jadi peluang ini lebih besar dan personally I will continue to talk to parents supaya mereka membuat pertimbangan yang benar. Kalaupun nampak ada tawaran yang lebih baik, don't rule out Yayasan Peneraju because I think it's a good offer. And with expanded offering, I'm hoping that we will be able to work with existing and future LTIs so that we can debottleneck and scale up places at our local LTIs as soon as possible to meet this demand for the next 5 years. Terima kasih. Kalau Ibrahim Sani buat parti kat sini, jangan jemput saya, nanti jadi TikTok, the next one. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you Yang Berhormat. Can we ask Yang Berhormat to remain on stage? Pihak majlis memohon Yang Berhormat kekal berada di atas pentas. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be proceeding with our Ask Us Anything session. And I would like to invite once again Mr. Ibrahim Sani, CEO of Yayasan Peneraju, to join Yang Berhormat on stage. Dipersilakan Encik Ibrahim. Ladies and gentlemen and members of the media, now that the financing scheme has been announced, I'm sure you're all eager to ask questions. You have burning questions to get answers from. Thus, we open this floor for the Ask Us Anything session for you to ask away from YB and also Mr. Ibrahim. We've prepared 6 microphones around you. Just a small reminder when asking questions to introduce yourself, your name, and of course your organizations that you're representing. I now hand over to Mr. Ibrahim Sani to proceed with the session.
Thank you very much. Okay, so kita dua dah cakap banyak. I'm losing my voice too. The microphones are open to our partners who want to ask anything. Silakan. Kalau tak ada soalan, kita boleh bersurai. Yes. Kalau tak ada soalan, kita boleh bersurai. This will be a very short ask us anything actually. Ada sana. Ya, silakan.
Hello, test 1 2 3. Hello, good afternoon everyone. So I'm happy to be here. So right now my name is Muhammad Adam Hakimi. I'm one of the scholars, and I'm informed that me and my friend Faiz is the only scholars be invited at this event because right now I have a startup. Actually, saya belajar dekat Intech, scholar SCCA, and I'm doing startup, bookkeeping startup lah. So my question is for both of you. So kita tengok planning Yayasan Peneraju for this upcoming is very, orang kata apa, the pivot lah kan. Memang saya sangat suka lah. So tadi kita dah ada part for LTI, macam mana LTI boleh bantu Yayasan Peneraju, and from the part Yayasan Peneraju sekali. But my question is, macam mana pula kita nak pastikan the beneficiaries, which is our student our scholars, untuk sokong this planning. Because why? For me, saya punya passion memang into business lah. Memang saya suka Yayasan Peneraju punya, orang kata apa, punya vision. But right now, bila saya tengok kawan-kawan saya sendiri, in tech ke, Sunway ke, mana-mana, they don't have that value creators punya passion.
Right.
So, is there any initiative like
Yeah.
mentorship ke by Yayasan Peneraju? So, that's my question. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Dan dari segi perniagaan dan keusahawanan, kita sangat jelas. Kita ada teman di Teraju, Tuan Junaidi ada dekat situ, kita boleh sembang. Tapi dari segi ekosistem penerima manfaat ataupun faedah daripada Yayasan Teraju, kita memang ada proses untuk mentoring dan juga coaching dan juga prototyping. Ini adalah antara perkara-perkara yang kita telah pun lancarkan tahun lepas. Tapi because of our super scaling ni, Tuan, seperti yang disebutkan tadi, I dah minum dah coffee you dekat Intech, by the way. And you are part of that people yang kita dah target from our profiling punya mechanism at the talent bank. We will reach out to you and about 2,000 of you, about 2,000, 3,000 this year as we go along this process. The focus right now today is to increase the enrollment, but the thinking that we have over the next 6 or 7 months is to ensure that talents like yourselves get the right coaching and engagement needed. Seperti contoh apa yang kita telah buat sebelum ni adalah our advisor council, Dato' Omar Siddiq, Dato' Nora Manaf dan sebagainya, ada engagements with our scholars. Soon we will have Dr. Nungsari as well to make sure that you guys get the complete and wholesome engagement from industry leaders and people that have done what you have done many years ago.
Kalau saya boleh tambah, when we talk about development, the general rule of thumb is that the earlier the intervention, the better. Jadi kalau dalam education, kalau kita nak melahirkan pelajar sekolah yang baik, numerous research has shown that you have to intervene much earlier at 4, 5, 6 years old. Dia bukan umur 13, 14 tahun baru kita nak intervene. Sebenarnya selepas talent kita melalui proses pendidikan tinggi, likewise, untuk bakat-bakat ini dapat tahu potensi dia, have a wider perspective about how they can grow, the earlier the intervention, the better. Now, proses belum ini, kebanyakan beban itu ditinggalkan kepada LTI. Kerana dia diuruskan oleh LTI, which is good, tetapi ada sedikit cabaran kerana kita tak boleh align dengan dasar kerajaan, kita tak boleh align holistically dengan semua. Kalau kita nak ada program pembangunan yang menyeluruh kepada setiap penerima dalam Yayasan Peneraju, then you nak kena cascade to different layers. Sedangkan kontrak itu, lantikan LTI, memang telah memberi tanggungjawab itu kepada LTI. So we have that problem. Now, once I think we pivot into this, of course, kita akan ada 2 streams of talent pools lah. Yang baru yang akan mula diambil tahun 2025, yang mana Yayasan Peneraju memang sudah 100% mengendalikan A to Z of that talent pipeline, itu lebih mudah. Because Yayasan Peneraju akan menguruskan mereka sebagai asset. So, you guys has to be tracked very closely. System will allow for profiling untuk kita mengenal pasti. supaya daripada awal bakat-bakat dalam Yayasan Peneraju ini, they have options, they know. Kalau contohnya buat ACCA tapi dia tak suka audit, ada pilihan-pilihan lain yang boleh dipertimbangkan dan kita akan connect dengan keseluruhan ekosistem swasta dan juga kerajaan yang ada. So the new batches are easier. Cuma kita nak kena manage the existing talent pool yang kita perlu melalui the transition. Dan yang itulah yang intervention itu sedang berlaku, baik melalui alumni Yayasan Peneraju, baik melalui program-program yang baru, to pull them into the ecosystem supaya there's a lot of engagement and juga development added value yang boleh diberikan oleh Yayasan Peneraju. So it will take a few years, but I think batches yang ada sekarang ni dalam 2-3 tahun, mungkin hampir semuanya dah habis. And then from 2027 onwards, it's going to be a lot easier because kita bermula dengan batch 2025 ni with completely new pivot yang ada sekarang.
Baik, terima kasih. Ada other questions, soalan lain? Di sana ni ada?
Hi. Here.
Ya, silakan.
Hi. I'm Ruby from Trainocade. So my first question is, how are you going to make sure that the scholar is going to pay the LTI? Because the scholarship is given to the scholar, right? So how do we make sure that they pay the LTI? That's the first part. Second part is, how are you going to make sure there's no fraud between the LTI and the scholar? Because they can actually berpakat and, passing exam is not a big deal because anyone can help you to pass an exam. So how are you going to make this scholar and LTI accountable?
Thank you.
The starting point ialah sebenarnya daripada Yayasan Peneraju, kan? Okay, kita akan ada 2 talent pool, kan? Actually, the split of funding tu, dia sebenarnya lebih banyak kepada professional financial courses. This ones, I think the starting point, the identification itu dibuat oleh Yayasan Peneraju. Kemudian, ada satu lagi iaitu professional. Professional ni ada certification ataupun training, upskilling and so on. There's some trade-off here. Of course, from LTI punya ideal situation, ialah bayar kepada LTI, LTI akan manage. But that's why we end up with what we have today. The dropout rate, semua tu agak tinggi. I'm not saying salah LTI. The reason being is that bila kita manage it like that, there is lesser accountability. And usually people just shop around. Okay, ada free courses, ada free certification, okay lah. After all, I don't have any responsibility. Saya ambil, LTI bagi, saya pun drop out, saya nak tukar benda lain. That happens. Not just di bawah Yayasan Peneraju, across the board. By making sure that penerima itu membayar and that creates accountability, and we have to manage this issue of fraud and so on by the compliance and the system yang kita ada. That has been developed. We are going through it. That's why we will roll it out, because I think PTPTN goes through the same issue. Part of the problem PTPTN sekarang ini ialah in the early parts of PTPTN, basically PTPTN uruskan semua yang submitted, dan kadang-kadang ada banyak yang LTI ataupun higher learning institute tu sebenarnya dia tak ada marketability, not good and so on, and dia tak peduli pun dropout rate and so on. So we have taken all that into account supaya we balance between that concerns on fraud, collusion and so on, and the requirement supaya we focus on people who really want to upskill, so much so that they are willing to pay and they get financial assistance daripada Yayasan Peneraju, and those LTI over and above yang sedia ada, termasuklah yang baru dibuka luas, So long as they meet the compliance requirements daripada Yayasan Peneraju, the audits and so on, then once they are part of it, is open competition di kalangan ALTI yang akan dibangunkan dan juga become a list di dalam Peneraju yang ada badge tadi. I think we will have to balance both, because as it is now, the problem might not be at the LTI, the problem is at Peneraju. Because Peneraju has to manage, if you look tadi, completion rate dengan enrollment, the gap is quite big. And we have big issue of people who don't come back, don't pay, tak tahu ke mana. Sebab all those are being managed at the LTI. It's not being managed at Yayasan Peneraju. So we have to strike a balance between the two. I can assure you, we will go through that process, and we are fully aware of how to, there is risk on both sides, especially from PTPTN punya experience as well. Collusion and fraud yang berlaku di antara LTI dengan students.
Thank you, Ruby. Tadi ada satu soalan tengah, ya, silakan.
Assalamualaikum dan hai, saya Cikgu Hajar. So saya ada 2 soalan untuk ditanya. Yang pertama saya nak tanya, macam mana Yayasan Peneraju ni dapat bekerjasama dengan institusi pendidikan supaya penerima beasiswa ni dapat menerima akses pendidikan yang berkualiti. Dan yang kedua saya nak tanya, adakah terdapat jaminan pekerjaan bagi penerima pembiayaan Peneraju ni? Okey, terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Cikgu. Jadi kita tengok yang soalan yang nombor 2 dulu. Jaminan pekerjaan. Kita tidak mampu, kita tak ada kompetensi untuk bagi jaminan bahawa pekerjaan itu akan wujud setelah selesai pembelajaran itu. Tapi kita percaya bahawa antara sebab utama bakat-bakat nak meneruskan pensijilan adalah sebab ada kehendak dari pasaran untuk mendapat pekerjaan yang kosong itu. So contohnya di cyber security banyak pekerjaan yang lopong yang belum lagi mampu diisi adalah disebabkan kerana tidak mempunyai pensijilan seperti ITIL level 3, ITIL level 4 dan sebagainya. Jadi bakat-bakat tu dah nampak, kerja tu kosong tapi mereka tidak mampu untuk apply untuk pekerjaan itu kerana pekerjaan itu adalah technical. So memang wujud satu kehendak dari pasaran terhadap kerja-kerja yang masih lagi lopong ataupun unfulfilled job requirements, dan itu akan membantu bakat-bakat ini untuk mengisi kelopongan yang wujud. Itu soalan kedua. Soalan pertama adalah dari segi institusi pendidikan. Kita pun telah menyatakan bahawa tadi kita dah tinggalkan institusi pendidikan kerana kita percaya bahawa terdapat agensi-agensi lain yang masih lagi lebih mempunyai kepakaran yang lebih mendalam untuk bekerjasama dan mengurus dengan institusi-institusi pendidikan. Kalau kita mahu hendak bekerjasama dengan institusi pendidikan, kemungkinan adalah dengan institusi pendidikan tinggi yang ingin meluaskan dan melebarkan perkhidmatan pendidikan mereka untuk menawarkan kursus-kursus yang selari dengan apa yang kita hendak, iaitu contohnya Professional Chartered Certification seperti CP Australia, CA Malaysia, CANS, MICPA, SIMA dan sebagainya. On top of ACCA dan juga ICAW. Itu adalah antara pengkhususan yang kita akan buat dengan institusi pendidikan. Tapi dari segi high school dan sebagainya, we won't do it. We have not done it since last year sebenarnya. Dan kita tidak akan meneruskan usaha itu untuk masa mendatang. Lagi? Ada soalan lagi? Mungkin lagi 2 soalan sebelum kita bersurai. Ataupun kita boleh bersurai sekarang. Ya, boleh cakap bersurai aja, orang senyum-senyum. Baiklah. Going once, going twice. Selesai. Terima kasih. Kita serahkan kepada MC.
Thank you Yang Berhormat dan juga Mr. Ibrahim, Encik Ibrahim kerana telah menyempurnakan sesi soal jawab sebentar tadi. And now pihak majlis memohon Yang Berhormat dan juga Encik Ibrahim kekal berada di atas pentas untuk sesi bergambar. Dan dijemput juga rakan-rakan media untuk turut serta mengambil kesempatan ini untuk mengambil gambar YB dan juga Encik Ibrahim. sekali lagi pihak majlis ingin merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada Yang Berhormat Dato' Sri Rafizi Ramli, Menteri Ekonomi, kerana memeriahkan lagi majlis pada hari ini dan dijemput tetamu-tetamu kehormat kita untuk menyertai Yang Berhormat dan juga Encik Ibrahim di atas pentas ya, sama-sama bergambar. Dan selepas ini tetamu-tetamu semua kita akan bergambar bersama-sama dengan Yang Berhormat di bawah sini. Jadi diminta semua untuk berkumpul lagi dekat dengan pertengahan di hadapan pentas ini ya. Yang berada di atas juga turut serta untuk kembali ke bawah bagi sesi bergambar beramai-ramai. Okey, baiklah, terima kasih kepada Yang Berhormat Encik Ibrahim dan juga tetamu-tetamu kehormat kita dijemput untuk mengambil tempat duduk semula bagi mengambil gambar bersama. Untuk berkumpul di hadapan pentas ya, bagi fotografer mengambil gambar dari atas pentas. Jadi tetamu-tetamu hadirin dan hadiran sekalian, sila berkumpul dekat sedikit ke pertengahan kawasan kita untuk sama-sama mengambil gambar beramai-ramai ya. Okey. Ya, sekali lagi hadirin sekalian, we'd like to invite all of our esteemed guests to please converge at the center of our area here to take a photo together with Yang Berhormat and our VIPs of today. Okay, baiklah. Do we have everyone? Siapa nak turut serta? Boleh masuk dalam. Pihak majlis ingin memohon YB dan juga kesemua tetamu untuk menjerit dalam 3, 2, 1, make the change. Boleh ya? Make the change ya. Alright, bersedia? 3, 2, 1. Boleh tak sekali lagi ya? Okay, sekali lagi diminta Yang Berhormat untuk melaungkan make the change. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Terima kasih kepada Yang Berhormat Dato' Sri Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy, once again for gracing us with his presence today, and to all of our esteemed guests of today, thank you so much for joining us on this momentous occasion. Congratulations once again to Yang Berhormat and everyone at Yayasan Peneraju on this transformational announcement. Let us all come together as agents of change at this nation, inshallah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please do feel free to enjoy the refreshments, mingle around, and visit our information booth to learn more about the new financing scheme. Thank you once again for joining us this evening. It has been a great honor to be part of this milestone.